To understand why a narcissist enters intimate relationships with what appears to be complete lack of selectivity, we first need to redefine what intimacy represents to them. If we assume they approach intimacy through the same emotional and psychological lens as someone capable of deep, authentic bonding, their behavior will never make sense. Their decisions will continue to appear reckless, harmful, or completely irrational. The essential truth is this: for a narcissist, physical closeness is rarely about emotional connection, genuine desire, or shared attraction. Instead, it functions as a transaction. It is a tool used to achieve a specific goal. Once you understand what those goals are, their seemingly careless behavior becomes much easier to comprehend. Bland. When most people become physically involved with another person, the experience usually involves multiple layers. There is authentic attraction toward that individual emotional closeness, or at least the desire to build it, shared vulnerability, mutual pleasure, and the creation of a deeper bond. The individual themselves holds importance. Their personality, presence, and uniqueness play a central role in the experience. A narcissist, however, operates from an entirely different perspective. They are searching for something that many different people could provide. They are not focused on you as a unique individual. They are focused on what you can offer them in a specific moment. What they seek typically falls into a few key categories: validation, control, emotional regulation, or confirmation of their desirability and influence. Consider how this works in practice. If intimacy is used to gain validation, to reassure themselves that they are attractive and desirable, then the identity of the partner becomes almost irrelevant. The only thing that matters is that someone agreed, someone showed interest, someone found them compelling enough to engage with. The partner could be nearly anyone as long as they fulfill that validating purpose. And if intimacy serves as a demonstration of control, a way to prove their ability to seduce, dominate, or gain access to another person's vulnerability, then again, the individual partner holds little importance. What matters is the experience of power itself. It is about confirming their ability to influence others, sometimes even overriding another person's boundaries or better judgment. Well, when intimacy is used to regulate their internal emotional state, it begins to function much like a substance. It provides temporary relief from feelings of emptiness, anxiety, or inner fragmentation. They are not building a relationship with a person any more than someone forms an emotional bond with medication. They are seeking sensation, distraction, and a temporary sense of feeling whole or alive. Anyone capable of producing that effect may be considered suitable. Amanda, this transactional perspective helps explain something that often deeply confuses partners of narcissists: their shocking lack of standards or selectivity. You may discover that your narcissistic partner became involved with someone they personally described as unattractive, unintelligent, or otherwise unimpressive. Naturally, you may wonder why they would risk a meaningful relationship for someone who appears less accomplished, appealing, or engaging. However, this question assumes they are choosing based on genuine personal preference. In reality, their choices are usually based on convenience, opportunity, and whether the other person can satisfy an immediate emotional need. This dynamic is similar to someone who is extremely hungry, consuming whatever food is available. When the goal is simply to fill an internal void, refined preferences often disappear. Flanges. This also explains why narcissists can maintain multiple intimate relationships simultaneously without showing obvious emotional conflict. For individuals capable of genuine attachment, such behavior would create emotional and psychological tension. They would struggle to balance emotional investments, manage ethical concerns, and reconcile multiple attachments. For the narcissist, this conflict rarely exists because authentic emotional connection is largely absent. Each partner serves a separate function, providing a specific type of emotional supply. They compartmentalize easily because they are not emotionally invested in these individuals as whole human beings. Instead, they engage with what those individuals can provide. This transactional approach also explains why narcissists may become intimate with individuals they do not even genuinely like. You might learn they were involved with someone they openly criticized, found irritating, or avoided socially outside of intimate encounters. This can seem completely baffling until it becomes clear that they were not relating to the individual at all. They were using that person's availability and physical presence to satisfy a need unrelated to who that person truly was. This represents a deeply objectifying pattern of interaction, although narcissists rarely recognize it as such. They may even convince themselves that they feel attraction or connection in the moment because they have learned to imitate these emotional expressions. However, the performance lacks genuine emotional depth. There is little true concern for the other person's thoughts, feelings, or individuality beyond what they can offer. In this sense, any form of validation becomes acceptable. A narcissist does not require something rare or extraordinary. They accept whatever is accessible because they are not seeking emotional richness. And they are attempting to complete a psychological transaction, obtaining something that nearly anyone who is available and physically compatible can provide. The individual becomes secondary to the function they serve. When intimacy is separated from every partner becomes replaceable because the narcissist was never truly searching for a person to begin with. And beyond this, the transactional nature of their intimate experiences reveals an even deeper psychological pattern. While intimacy may serve, one of its most significant purposes is helping the narcissist gather proof for an ongoing internal narrative. They are constantly attempting to confirm their own desirability, influence, and importance. Narcissists typically lack a stable internal sense of self-worth. Their self-esteem rarely exists independently of external approval. Instead, they continuously and often desperately try to convince themselves that they are valuable, special, and worthy of attention and admiration. Each intimate encounter becomes evidence supporting this internal argument. This is why the number of partners or experiences often holds exaggerated importance for them, sometimes in ways that appear immature or obsessive. They may keep mental records, casually referencing their number of intimate partners with a sense of pride. They might accumulate these experiences the way others collect accomplishments or awards. If intimacy is viewed as emotional connection, this behavior can appear strange and even pitiful. However, when understood as a process of gathering psychological proof, it begins to make sense. Every individual who agrees to be intimate with them becomes evidence. Evidence that they are desirable, evidence that they possess influence, evidence that they can attract, seduce, and dominate. The experience itself often becomes secondary to what it symbolizes in their ongoing attempt to build a sense of personal importance. This explains why conquest frequently matters more to them than connection. In fact, genuine connection could interfere with their goals. Real connection requires vulnerability, emotional reciprocity, and the possibility of being rejected for their authentic self. Conquest, on the other hand, offers validation without exposure. The ability to persuade, to overcome hesitation, and to successfully seduce provides affirmation without emotional risk. Mom, notice how narcissists often describe their intimate encounters when they speak openly. Their descriptions frequently sound like acquisitions rather than meaningful experiences. Statements such as, "I had her," "I sealed the deal," or "I can attract anyone I want," reveal the underlying psychological motivation. These encounters are treated as possessions or achievements rather than relationships between two individuals. This is where their indiscriminate behavior becomes especially significant. It is not simply that any partner will suffice. The greater the variety, quantity, and perceived prestige of their encounters, the stronger their perceived evidence becomes. If they can attract individuals from different backgrounds, appearances, or social positions, it reinforces their belief in their universal appeal. They convince themselves that their desirability is limitless and not restricted to a particular type of person. There is also a compulsive element driving this pattern because the narcissist's internal emptiness is persistent. Their need for validation is rarely satisfied for long. One encounter does not resolve their insecurity or answer their doubts about their value. Instead, they feel compelled to seek additional experiences. Each encounter briefly creates a sense of being desired, powerful, and significant, but that feeling fades quickly, creating the need for another experience to restore it. This explains why narcissists may pursue another partner almost immediately after an intimate encounter. It is not necessarily because the previous experience lacked satisfaction in a typical sense. Rather, it failed to resolve the deeper existential insecurity that motivated the behavior. The emptiness returns, self-doubt resurfaces, and they once again seek reassurance through external validation. Compare this with how individuals capable of genuine emotional bonding often experience intimacy. For them, intimacy frequently creates emotional closeness, fulfillment, and a temporary sense of completeness that reduces the need to seek validation elsewhere. The experience nurtures emotional connection and provides a sense of security, at least for a period of time. For the narcissist, however, each encounter resembles attempting to fill a container with a hidden leak. It may appear full briefly, but the sense of emptiness quickly returns because external experiences cannot repair the internal deficiency they are attempting to address. As a result, they remain in a constant cycle of pursuit, continually attempting to confirm their desirability and importance through experiences that never fully satisfy them. This dynamic also helps explain why narcissists are often drawn to individuals who are already in relationships, emotionally unavailable, Successfully seducing someone who is committed to another person or difficult to obtain provides stronger validation. The challenge intensifies the perceived value of the conquest. The focus is rarely on the individual themselves, but rather on what winning their attention proves about the narcissist's perceived power and appeal. Glance. This also explains their persistence. They may invest significant time and energy into pursuits that seem disproportionate to outsiders. They are not truly chasing relationships. They are chasing reassurance. Bondas, there is something deeply tragic about this pattern when examined closely. The narcissist is attempting to obtain proof of their value and desirability through experiences that can never provide lasting fulfillment. External admiration cannot repair an internal absence of stable self-worth. No number of individuals expressing interest can resolve the void created by a fragmented self-identity. And as a result, they remain trapped in a repetitive and compulsive cycle. They accumulate experiences that provide brief relief but fail to create lasting self-confidence. They continuously gather proof that never fully convinces them. The individuals they become intimate with are rarely experienced as complete human beings within the narcissist's perception. Instead, they function as witnesses, sources of validation, or supporting evidence. Their personal emotion and individuality often become secondary to the role they serve in fulfilling the narcissist's psychological needs. This represents one of the most dehumanizing aspects of the narcissist's indiscriminate intimacy. It is not simply that they are willing to be intimate with anyone. It is that by approaching intimacy in this way, they fail to form genuine intimacy with anyone. Each encounter revolves around their own emotional needs and their ongoing attempt, to confirm their worth through another person's attention and physical presence. When intimacy becomes a tool for self-validation, every partner becomes evidence, and no partner becomes emotionally real. Yet there is an even deeper layer beneath this pattern that extends beyond validation and psychological proof. It reflects something more instinctive and desperate, the narcissist's profound disconnection from their own physical and emotional self, combined with an internal emptiness that feels overwhelming. Understanding this requires examining the narcissist's relationship with physical sensation and self-awareness. Many narcissists exist in a chronic state of psychological detachment, often described as dissociation. This involves a disconnection from their authentic emotions, genuine identity, and embodied experiences. Their psychological structure is built around avoiding contact with an inner self that they perceive as flawed, inadequate, or unworthy. However, this reliance on dissociation comes with an enormous psychological price. It disconnects the narcissist from the internal sensation of truly existing, from feeling fully alive, and from experiencing their own body in a grounded and authentic way. This creates a form of emptiness that is difficult for most people to fully grasp. It is not only emotional emptiness, although that is certainly present. It is a deeper existential void, a feeling of not fully existing, as if life is being observed from behind a barrier rather than actively lived. The narcissist moves through routines, imitates emotions, and performs socially expected reactions, yet beneath this performance, there is very little genuine emotional experience. Melina, this is where physical intimacy becomes significant as a temporary coping mechanism. In brief moments, intimacy can provide something the narcissist desperately craves, intense sensations strong enough to interrupt dissociation. Physical touch and the overwhelming stimulation of intimate encounters can create brief experiences in which the narcissist actually feels present. During these moments, they may feel anchored in their body and temporarily aware of their existence. This pattern is similar to how some individuals rely on extreme physical experiences to feel alive, such as high-risk activities, physical pain, or adrenaline-driven behavior. The intensity breaks through, providing short-term relief from internal emptiness and producing a fleeting sense of embodiment and reality. Lamb, the crucial point is this: if intimacy is being pursued as a method of escaping internal emptiness rather than forming emotional connection, then the identity of the partner becomes irrelevant. The narcissist is not seeking a person. They are seeking sensation, an experience powerful enough to momentarily make them feel real. This helps explain something that often deeply shocks partners when they discover the full extent of the narcissist's behavior. Many of these encounters appear mechanical and emotionally detached, lacking genuine passion or enjoyment. The narcissist may engage in intimacy while appearing distant or emotionally absent, performing actions that resemble compulsion rather than authentic desire. This occurs because they are not seeking pleasure in a typical sense. They are seeking to experience sensation, any sensation strong enough to break through the persistent numbness created by dissociation. Because of this, the sensation they seek can be achieved with almost anyone. It does not require emotional attraction, connection, or even basic respect for the other individual. Linus also explains why narcissistic intimate behavior often appears addictive or compulsive. Like any attempt to manage internal distress through external experiences, it offers temporary relief without providing a permanent solution. The sensation fades quickly. Dissociation returns. The emptiness reappears. As a result, the narcissist feels compelled to seek another encounter, another moment of temporary presence, another escape from the distressing experience of feeling disconnected from themselves. There is a deeply tragic dimension to this pattern when viewed with understanding. The narcissist is, in effect, using other people's bodies as a form of self-medication, attempting to treat a profound psychological wound through physical stimulation. Yet this approach cannot succeed because the underlying issue is not a lack of stimulation, but a fundamental disconnection from their authentic self, something the individuals involved in these encounters are rarely experienced as genuine partners or participants in a shared emotional experience. Instead, they become instruments or vehicles through which the narcissist seeks temporary escape from inner emptiness. Although the narcissist may express affection or speak in ways that sound emotionally connected, their internal experience often remains one of profound isolation. Even in moments of intense physical closeness, they remain emotionally alone, focused on their desperate attempt to feel real. This also explains why their behavior often appears random, impulsive, or even self-destructive. They may pursue intimacy in inappropriate situations, during unstable circumstances, or with individuals who are clearly unsuitable. Such behavior seems irrational if interpreted as a search for pleasure or connection. However, it becomes understandable when viewed as an attempt to escape an overwhelming internal state. The compulsive nature of this behavior frequently intensifies during periods of emotional stress. When narcissists experience failure, rejection, or events that threaten their inflated self-image, the internal void becomes more severe. Dissociation deepens, and the need for intense sensation grows stronger. This can result in escalating patterns of increasingly reckless or indiscriminate intimate behavior during times of emotional instability. Bland there. There is also a cyclical and self-reinforcing aspect to this pattern. Each impulsive encounter, each indiscriminate choice, and each moment of using another person as emotional anesthesia further strengthens the narcissist's inability to form genuine emotional bonds. It reinforces their habit of relating to others as objects rather than individuals with their own emotional realities. Over time, this makes authentic connection, which might actually address their internal emptiness, increasingly difficult to achieve. Lamed as a result, the narcissist becomes trapped in a self-perpetuating cycle. The behaviors they rely on to escape emptiness ultimately ensure that the emptiness remains. They attempt to experience authenticity through encounters that require emotional detachment. They try to escape internal void through experiences that can only provide temporary stimulation, never genuine fulfillment. Meanwhile, they move through relationships with individuals who believe they are participating in something mutual and meaningful, often unaware that they are serving as temporary emotional relief for someone else's internal crisis. When another person's body becomes a tool for achieving momentary self-awareness, the specific individual becomes unimportant because the narcissist is not seeking connection. They are attempting to escape themselves. Up to this point, we have explored the narcissist's indiscriminate, intimate behavior from their internal psychological perspective, including the transactional nature, the constant search for validation, and the attempt to escape internal emptiness. However, there is another, darker and more deliberate dimension that must be addressed. When a narcissist is involved in a primary relationship, their indiscriminate behavior often functions as a strategic tool of control and emotional devaluation. In fact, the lack of selectivity makes this behavior even more psychologically damaging. It is important to understand this clearly because it represents one of the most emotionally destructive aspects of being involved with a narcissist. The lower their standards appear when engaging with others, the stronger the message communicated to their primary partner becomes. It suggests that the partner is not unique, not valued, and easily replaceable. That your devotion, your loyalty, and your emotional investment ultimately carry no real value in their eyes. Consider what happens when you discover that your narcissistic partner has been intimate with someone you perceive as clearly inferior in ways that once defined your importance to them. Someone you believe is less attractive, less accomplished, less engaging, or lacking qualities you believed strengthens your relationship. Unbend, your initial reaction is often deep confusion. You wonder why they would jeopardize a relationship for someone who appears so obviously less compatible. Why would they risk losing you for someone who seems so unremarkable? But this confusion exists because you are still interpreting their behavior through the lens of genuine attraction or personal preference. You assume their actions reflect emotional or physical desire. That misunderstanding is precisely what makes their behavior so psychologically damaging. Lambs through their indiscriminate actions, the narcissist communicates a devastating message. They demonstrate that you are not unique or irreplaceable. The qualities you believed gave you meaning in the relationship, your emotional depth, your loyalty, your dedication, and your character are revealed to hold no significance to them. By showing that they will be intimate with virtually anyone, they reinforce the idea that your individual qualities never truly mattered. In their perspective, you could easily be replaced by anyone else. This realization can be profoundly destabilizing. It shakes your sense of importance within the relationship and forces you to question your own worth. More dangerously, it pushes you into a position where you begin competing for validation that should never require competition. You are no longer competing with exceptional individuals. Instead, you are competing with the possibility of anyone because your partner has demonstrated that they have little to no selectivity or meaningful consideration regarding who they become intimate with. The indiscriminate nature of their behavior is not accidental harm. It is the method through which emotional devaluation occurs. If the narcissist were involved with someone who appeared genuinely exceptional, someone widely admired or uniquely appealing, you might interpret their betrayal as being driven by strong attraction towards someone extraordinary. While painful, it would at least follow a recognizable emotional logic. However, when they engage with someone who appears unsuitable, someone they may even openly criticize or treat with contempt, becomes far more destructive. It signals that their behavior is not about finding someone better. It is about proving that anyone is sufficient. It suggests that your individuality and value were illusions and that you are easily replaceable. Lambda, this keeps you in a persistent state of insecurity and emotional alertness. But you never feel safe or certain of your place in the relationship. You cannot trust that your commitment, your appearance, or your achievements provide any form of stability. When your partner demonstrates that they can be intimate with anyone, it removes any sense of emotional protection or reassurance. And often, narcissists understand the power dynamics this creates, even if not fully consciously. They recognize that keeping you uncertain and emotionally unstable makes you easier to control. When you are desperate to prove your worth, you are more likely to tolerate behavior that you would otherwise reject, hoping that your efforts will eventually make you feel uniquely valued. Explain. There is another layer to this emotional manipulation. Their indiscriminate behavior places you in an impossible situation. If you tolerate it, your self-respect suffers. If you confront it, you risk being portrayed as jealous, controlling, or emotionally unstable. The narcissist frequently reframes your natural reaction to betrayal as a flaw in your personality rather than a reasonable response to their behavior. They may dismiss your pain by saying things such as, "It didn't mean anything," or "You're overreacting." That statement is particularly manipulative because, in a limited sense, it may be true. Their encounters often carry little emotional meaning for them. However, they use this emotional detachment as justification rather than recognizing it as evidence of their dysfunction. The fact that the encounter lacked emotional significance does not reduce the betrayal. Instead, it highlights their inability to form genuine emotional bonds, explained by presenting their behavior as meaningless. They attempt to minimize its impact while simultaneously delivering the devastating message that you are equally meaningless and replaceable. You are told that you are exaggerating your emotional response to something insignificant, while at the same time being confronted with evidence that your role in their life is no more significant than anyone else's. The indiscriminate nature of their behavior can also isolate you socially. When you attempt to explain the situation to others, it can sound confusing or irrational. You might describe how they became involved with someone they openly considered unattractive or unappealing. People who have not experienced narcissistic dynamics may struggle to understand why this can feel even more damaging. They may not recognize that the lack of selectivity is exactly what makes the experience so dehumanizing. Learned over time, this behavior often intensifies, particularly as your emotional attachment to them deepens. Early in the relationship, they may maintain the appearance of standards or selective interest. However, as your emotional investment increases, the underlying message becomes clearer. Your uniqueness was never genuine. Your positive qualities never guaranteed security. You are as replaceable as anyone else because, in their perception, everyone is interchangeable. Bland, this dynamic resembles psychological warfare carried out through intimate betrayal. It is especially effective because most people struggle to believe that someone would intentionally use intimacy as a method of emotional control and devaluation. Many individuals want to believe that infidelity is driven by authentic attraction or emotional connection. The deliberate and indiscriminate nature of narcissistic betrayal can feel too cruel to fully accept. Planned. When they are willing to risk everything for anyone, they are communicating that you were never truly valued as special. This is not accidental damage caused by their behavior. It is the message itself. Perhaps the most fundamental explanation for the narcissist's indiscriminate, intimate behavior lies even deeper. Beneath the search for validation, the attempt to escape internal emptiness, and the use of intimacy as a control mechanism, a critical factor. Narcissists often lack the internal psychological structures necessary to create genuine selectivity in relationships. Understanding this reveals just how profoundly different their internal emotional world can be compared to someone capable of authentic emotional bonding. This difference becomes clearer when compared to individuals who possess a relatively integrated and stable sense of self. When most people make decisions regarding intimate relationships, their choices are influenced by a complex internal system of guidance. Their values shape their behavior, including beliefs about loyalty, commitment, respect, and integrity. Their preferences are formed not only through physical attraction, but also through emotional, intellectual, and sometimes spiritual compatibility. Consider consequences, reflecting on how their actions might affect others, and whether those actions align with the type of person they want to be. They also possess the ability to experience guilt or shame when they violate their personal standards or cause harm. Most importantly, they recognize the other person as a complete individual, someone with their own emotions, experiences, and dignity. Together, these internal systems create what could be described as natural selectivity. Most individuals do not become intimate with just anyone because various psychological safeguards influence their decisions. Their personal values discourage harmful choices. Their awareness of consequences encourages caution. Their empathy for others limits impulsive behavior. Their genuine attraction to specific traits shapes their preferences. Their self-respect and sense of integrity create boundaries that regulate their behavior. The narcissist, however, often lacks these internal structures or possesses them in such weakened forms that they fail to meaningfully influence behavior. Examining these missing elements individually helps clarify why their behavior appears so indiscriminate. First, consider values. A narcissist's values tend to be situational and primarily focused on self-benefit. They may express certain beliefs when doing so enhances their image, but these beliefs are rarely deeply internalized. Without strong internal moral standards, there is little to prevent harmful behavior when external observation or accountability is absent. Next is genuine preference. While it may appear that narcissists have personal tastes or attractions, these preferences often shift depending on what benefits them at a given moment. Without a stable sense of identity, their interests frequently change according to what enhances their status, satisfies immediate desires, or supports their grandiose self-image. Their relationship with consequences is also significantly different. Individuals with integrated self-awareness typically consider how present choices will influence future outcomes and their long-term identity. Narcissists often believe that rules do not apply to them, assume they can manipulate situations to avoid consequences, or remain so focused on immediate gratification that future repercussions feel distant and irrelevant. Considering cause and effect requires a consistent sense of self over time, something narcissists often struggle to maintain. Perhaps the most significant missing element is the capacity for genuine guilt. Guilt functions as an internal signal indicating that an action conflicts with personal values or harms someone important. It encourages reflection and behavioral change. Narcissists frequently have a diminished ability to experience authentic guilt. When guilt does arise, it is often quickly neutralized through denial, rationalization, or blaming others. Without the emotional discomfort of guilt, there is little internal motivation to avoid harmful behavior. Their decision-making becomes focused primarily on whether they can avoid consequences or satisfy personal desires rather than whether their actions are ethically right or wrong, representing another critical absence. Empathy allows individuals to imagine and care about another person's emotional experience independently of personal benefit. Because narcissists often struggle with genuine empathy, they lack one of the strongest psychological influences that typically encourage selectivity in intimate relationships. The awareness that one's actions might emotionally harm another person does not strongly influence their behavior. When all of